What's going on, Pookie? Today, I want to share with you my unique Facebook ad strategy that I can guarantee you have never seen anywhere else, but will give you the highest chance of success with any product you test, while also teaching you the exact ways that I scale any brand from just a few sales a day to over $1,000 a day like this store right here. Now, of course, we're going to be talking about the KPIs and the numbers we need to crunch to make the best media buying decisions a little bit later in this video, but let's first start with the testing campaign. Now, for me, the most important thing you realize when you're testing any dropshipping product is that your creative is 95% of your success. Therefore, you should not be testing a product with only a few creatives that you're just ripping from your competitors, because that's what everyone else is doing, and that doesn't give you the best chance to make your product a winner. And for me, my media buying strategy is just let your creatives do the heavy lifting and let them cook. So for the testing approach, how do we let our creatives thrive? Well, I first want to start with a manual sales campaign. And when I test any product, I'm going to have 4 ad sets. Now, obviously, we're on this first ad set right here, and you may be wondering, do we do CBO, ABO? What's all the settings here? I don't do catalog, I don't do A/B tests, and I don't do CBO anymore, which I used to do in the past. Now, the main reason I'm not using CBO anymore is because I don't believe Facebook is the best at choosing your right creatives, which in the past, I told people use CBOs because it's gonna save you money and choose the right creatives so that you don't waste money on bad creatives. But what I've noticed is, let's say hypothetically, you have a CBO at $100 a day, you have 3 ad groups and then 3 creatives in each one. What would typically happen is that most of your budget, 80 to 90%, would go to one of those 3 ad groups, and then the other 2 ad groups that had a set of 3 creatives would get neglected. They wouldn't get a chance to work for you. But I had the wrong assumption in the past that meant, oh, because those ads aren't getting any spend, therefore Facebook knows that they're not good ads. And I used to just believe Facebook was 100% right. But what I noticed is, after I analyzed about 20 different ad accounts for my students, we would let those creatives that got no spend initially then get spend in an ABO. So we force spend into them. And a lot of times they would actually perform better than the initial ad group that got all of the spend in the CBO. So we realized Facebook isn't right 100% of the time. Therefore, let's guarantee spend into each one of our creatives to give them all an equal chance of working. So basically, that's a long explanation as to why I do ABO now. So let's get into our actual settings. Now, of course, you want to make sure you have your pixel tied to your store. So I got my pixel, Ethan Dobbins, Uncle E pixel, ready to go. Dynamic creative, I'm not doing anymore as well, because I just have seen that you can't turn off an individual creative. So let's say, again, you have 4 creatives you're testing. If you do dynamic creative and you plop all of your ads into this one ad, and I'll show you real quick with an example campaign. So the main reason I don't like dynamic creatives, and if we edit this one right here, which is a dynamic creative with 3 different images, let's say hypothetically one of these images is performing way better than all the others. Let's say it's the black one, for instance. If it's performing well, what I would typically do is turn off the other 2 ads so that I can funnel all the spend to the black image. But in a dynamic creative, you can't do that. It's all toggled on that one dynamic creative that has all 3 images. So I don't like that you can't separate the images. And when we were breaking down the data, a lot of times Facebook would glitch out. So you're supposed to do dynamic creative, then each individual image. And as you can see right here, when I click the right breakdown, it's taking a long time, but honestly, in most cases, it would just give me incorrect data. So I personally like to make each ad individual now. All right, so let's go back to the campaign that we were creating, and that's why we're not using dynamic creative anymore. So that way we can individually analyze each ad and be able to turn them on or scale up a specific ad. And that's why we're not using dynamic creative anymore, so that we can properly actually get the right data to know which ads performing well and then turn off the ones that aren't performing. Now, for me, in terms of start date, I usually will either do midnight or 7 a.m. of the next day. For me, this is not a make or break, deal breaker. You can do whatever you personally prefer. I prefer 7 a.m. Now, scrolling on down, in terms of locations, I always am going to do big 4. I like to test multiple markets to see which one's performing the best, because every product is going to be different. So I like to do United States, Canada, UK, and of course, our mates down under in Australia, which is a terrible Australian accent. That's not what they sound like at all. What is Australia? G'day, mate. Gonna eat some Vegemite down under with the lads at the pub. Hey, that wasn't too shabby. All right, so getting into the final settings here. So when it comes to age, genders, I'm usually going to leave the age as broad, 1865 plus. Even if I feel like, okay, this product is specifically for an older audience, do I exclude I would say the max exclusion I would do is 25 to 65 plus, but I try to keep things broad so that way my CPM is as low as possible, because typically, let's say your product is for an older audience, by keeping it broad, your CPM will still be as cheap as possible, but over time, Facebook's gonna know, yes, let's just only show and only put the budget towards this older demographic. So just let Facebook do the work in most cases. Same thing with gender, unless you know specifically your product is only for women or only for men, then I will specify that, yes, let's just do the one gender here. Now, in terms of interest, I'm always going broad. I hate interest. I think interest is the dumbest thing on planet Earth because it just narrows your audience. So that means you can't scale as high and it's more expensive to run your ads. Your CPMs are going to be higher because you're narrowing things down. So it has two negative effects that I just don't understand. Why would you want to pay more to show your ad to the same size people? And even if it does work, when you get to scale, it's not as many people to scale to. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I personally don't do anything with that. And then I do Advantage Plus placements. Now, going on to the ad side of things, I'm usually going to have 4 ad groups in every testing campaign and then 3 to 4 unique ads for each concept I'm testing. So for the identity, we're going to choose our Facebook page, and then scrolling on down, we need to select our first video. Now, this first ad set is going to be an angle of get ready with me. So I made 4 ads that all have different hooks, different bodies, and slightly different scripts, but they're all the concept of someone is getting ready to start her day and is using my product in a natural way. So this is the first one. So we're just going to label this get ready with me, and then we'll do number 1. Then for the ad set itself, I also just label it the concept itself. So this is a get ready with me. And then scrolling on down, we are going to need to add our primary text. Now for me, I usually just have 2 different styles I'd like to try out. So one where it's just a short 1 or 2 sentence, and then the other style is more using some bullet point benefits. So here are the 2 styles. And usually if you've done your market research, you can just go on ChatGPT and then say, here's an example of what this looks like in terms of the ad copy style, make a few versions of this. So I usually don't stress about this primary text. I just want it to be coherent and actually match with the content that I'm showing to people. So I usually am just going to go in ChatGPT and have it whip up this copy for me anyways, because it really doesn't play anywhere near as big of a part as the video or image that you're testing. Now, scrolling on down, description, call to actions, we're going to do shop now. And then usually you're going to have this little headline, and I do either social proof or urgency. So loved by over blank amount of target audience, or you can say that your 50% off sale ends at midnight, or your summer sale ends soon, just something that gets people clicking. Now, of course, we're going to put our website URL right there, and then scrolling on down, we are going to click on publish. Now, if you are using a third-party tracking software like a Triple Whale, for instance, then you're usually going to put the URL code right here in URL parameters. Now, this is our first ad, and once this is published, we need to add our other 3 ads. So what I would do is create a quick duplicate of this Get Ready With Me one. So you make 3 duplicates, and then that's where we're going to drop the other videos, but they're going to have the same primary text. I don't believe in really split testing primary text among all the different concepts. I think that's just redundant. So what we're going to do here is just duplicate, do 3 copies, just like that, la-di-da, and then this one's going to be Get Ready With Me 2, and then the only difference is we're going to select the second version of this. So right here, we got Get Ready With Me 2, so we're going to select next, and then we are just going to rinse and repeat and do this exact same process for our other ad groups as well. Alrighty, so we got our first ad set ready to go, and now the next step is we're going to do the exact same process, except we're going to do it at the ad group level, where we're going to create 3 new copies. They're all going to be identical in setup. The only difference is, again, we are split testing new creatives. So this is where I'm going to do, instead of Get Ready With Me copy, we are going to do whatever else are the concepts we're trying out. So this next one is before and after. So what I'm going to do is just upload my videos if I haven't already done that, or if I have uploaded that, I'm just going to go to change video, and then we're going to grab this on down below. So this is going to be before and after numero uno. And then once we got that done, everything's looking good. We're going to go to before and after, and then we're going to label this one number 2. And I think at this point you get the gist. You're just going to upload your 3 to 4 ads that you're testing for each one of the concepts. But the key thing is you try out these different concepts, and then you see what's actually working the best. All right, quick timeout. I know you're enjoying today's video, but if you are looking for the fastest way to shortcut the learning curve of dropshipping and scale your dropshipping brand from 0 to 1 grand a day in the next 90 days, especially if you've been doing this for a few weeks, months, or years, and you're still losing money, then you need to have a one-on-one coach. So thankfully, we have a few spots open if you want to work with my team and I one-on-one, so that we can help you choose the right products instead of wasting time and money on the wrong products, and also just give you our winning product page templates that have generated over 7 figures in sales, and teach you how to create irresistible offers for all the products that you're going to be selling. And finally, we're going to teach you how to create winning ads for any product that you sell, so that you know how to make a product into a winner rather than praying that your next test is going to be a winner. We also offer 6 calls a week plus 24/7 messaging with a dedicated one-on-one coach, so that you get all the accountability and support you're ever going to need to scale from 0 to 1 grand a day, like our students Matt, Tim, and so many others that have scaled from 0 to 5, 10 grand days. And On top of all that, we do have a guarantee where if you donate $1,000 a day in the next 90 days, then we will keep coaching you for free until you do. So if you're interested in getting started, then I would recommend booking a call down below with our team to see if we're the right fit to help you scale. So by the time you're done, what your campaign should look like is something like this. So we have our be careful, which is one of our concepts. We have our mail angle, before and after, and get ready with me. So we have 16 total ads instead of the typical 3 ripped ones that everyone else is going to be doing, which dramatically lowers your chance of success. I mean, you're testing with 5 times more ads and you're guaranteeing spend each one at $20 a day. That's what I would personally recommend for budgeting. And typically now we have to get into what do you do after the first day of spend and the second day as well. But before we can do that, we have to actually set up our columns and know which metrics do we look at to be able to make the right decisions of whether or not we should kill or scale a product that we're currently running. So let's go to our columns real quick, and we are just going to set this all up from scratch from the beginning. Amount spent is going to be our first metric, and then going down, I like to do this like a funnel with my metrics. So first, when you're running your ads, you're gonna be spending money. Then the next step is you're gonna be getting some impressions, you're gonna be getting some link clicks. So typically what I would like to do is first off, what's my CPM? So what's my cost to show my ad? Now, after you get impressions, people are gonna be watching your hook of your ad and then completing your ad. So I actually have 2 custom metrics called hook rate and hold rate, which basically the way to set these up is you go to create custom metric at the top. Then you would label this in the first case, hook rate. And hook rate is just the 3-second views divided by the total video views. So let's say for instance, we do 3-second video plays. So you might have a total of 1,000 views on your ad, but only about 300 of those people actually finish the first 3 seconds, which means you have a 30% hook rate. So we're gonna do 3-second video plays, and then we're gonna click on the divided by symbol. We are gonna do our video plays. So going right here, and then this is going to be labeled as a percentage, and then create metric, and you are good to go. Now for hold rate, as you can see right there, it's video plays at 100% divided by 3-second video plays. So after you have that, the next step is people are going to start clicking on your ad. So these are CTR and these are clicks as well. So I like to personally do unique CTR. I don't like to do link clicks in total, because link clicks can be inflated, meaning if you get, let's say, 1 person who clicks onto your website, but then they go back to your website, that's technically 2 link clicks, and that's what will show in Facebook, but it's only 1 person. So I like to do unique link clicks, which will only show as 1 instead of 2 in that instance. So going into the other one, that's going to be unique link clicks. So we want to have the total and then also the cost for each one of those clicks. Then going to the next step, once someone's on your website, there's going to be add to carts, and there's going to be a cost for those add to carts. Same thing for checkouts. You can have checkouts. I'm not the biggest, honestly, I don't check it too much anymore. So I'm just going to do total purchases. Then we'll do our cost per purchase. And that's really the main things. You can also have, your purchase ROAS, which for a lot of people is everything, but I don't check it as much. And then you're going to label this beast mode or daddy E, whatever you want to personally name it. It's up to you. Now, from here, we have all the columns that really matter. So in the first day, what should you expect? So you spend around $80. And for me personally, this is going to depend on the break even of your product, because if you're selling a product and let's say your break even is $100, you're obviously going to have to spend more money to be able to know if an ad is a winner. So in that case, I would say you would want to increase your budget from $20 a day per ABO to about $50 a day. So that way, after 2 days of running ads, you'll have spent to your break even. So that's usually a good rule for me, where I want to be able to, after 2 days, know if a creative is a winner or not. But in most cases, your break even for a product is going to be around $25, $30. So having this $20 a day starting budget is going to be perfectly fine. Now, after the first day, if the metrics are god awful, and I'm talking you have 0 add to carts, 0 purchases, and let's say your cost per link click is above $2. I'll see if I can find a campaign that poor. So going on this campaign right here, you can see we've spent $50. Our CPMs are god awful, and scrolling to the right, our cost per click is $4, and we have 0 add to carts, 0 purchases. So in cases like this, where you're just getting no life whatsoever, I'm always going to kill on the first day, and then I'm just going to either decide, should I retest the product or should I just move on? And in most cases, when the metrics are this bad, and I know at my level that I do create ads that are good enough to work, I'm usually just going to move on from the product and test something else instead. Now, quick pause, because if you're more on a budget but still want to learn my best strategies and tools for scaling at my own dropshipping stores, then I would recommend my Bold Ecom Discord, which for $99 a month will not only give you a step-by-step course that will teach you everything you need to know to go from 0 to $1,000 a day, including how I find winning products, the tools that I use, Jungle Scout, Manea, KPIS. Those all cost over $750 a month, but you will get access to them by joining this program, and also get my product page templates, my ad templates that you can copy and paste to test any product and make sales today with. Now, along with all those amazing perks, we do 2 group calls every single week where I'll answer your questions, review your website, review your ads personally, one-on-one, like you have me as your own coach for only $99 a month. Honestly, it is just amazing the amount of value you get. And our other group call is with my coach Antonio, who will do product research live with you so you can see exactly what products we love and what products you should never be testing. And on top of all those amazing things you can see here, we are constantly updating this with new ads that are currently winning so you can get inspiration, new winning products that you can currently test and scale with today, and so many more amazing benefits, all for only $99 a month. So if you're interested, click the link in my description. However, if I was to look at this case right here where we spend about $106 and our CPCs are pretty terrible across the board, $2.60 is rough, but we had some add to carts. There was some life here that would tell me, okay, I should be retesting this product again, but with new creatives that can get me cheaper clicks, because clearly these creatives did not do their job of getting me cheap, affordable, high quality clicks. But there was some life that my website was carrying because I only got 40 link clicks, but 6 add to carts, and that's a really good add to cart ratio. So typically after that first day, what you're looking for is good link clicks. So AKA getting a cost per unique link click of $1 or less, and getting at least a few add to carts to show some life for your product. If you're not getting that, usually I'm going to go back to the drawing board and say, what can I do differently? And I should retest that product instead. Now, if you do have some add to carts, like in this case right here, after the first day, what you're going to do is let it run for a second day. Now, after day 2, so you spent $160 in this case, if you do not have anything that's profitable, if none of your ad groups have sales and are not under your break-even cost per purchase, so let's say for instance your break-even on this product is $30 and you have none of those ad groups that have a purchase for under $30, I'm going to kill the campaign and reevaluate why was it not profitable. So let's actually take a look at the first 2 days when I did test the creatives that we've actually just showed in this video. So for this product, hair care is a very competitive niche. So CPMs at around $30 is really, really solid. Typically, I want my CPM to be between $15 to $30. If it's above 50, that's usually a red flag that your creatives just aren't good enough, or you're in a very, very specific tiny niche. So just keep that in mind. Some products are going to have higher CPMs just naturally because of the niche. Now going over here to hook rate, a good hook rate is above 40%. So you can see here, my ads, they were decent. Some of them were better than others in terms of that hook rate, but they could overall across the board be better. And then for hold rate, this typically wants to be about 10 to 15%. So we can see here on average, we're at 20%. So we're crushing it there. CTR, you typically want to be above 1.5 to 2%. We are across the board 2%, which is great. And then unique link clicks, the cost per unique link click, it's pretty high. This one, god awful, but these two, they're teetering where they could be profitable if our website's performing well, but it still isn't ideal. But as we can see, we have some add to carts. So on the first 2 days, we had a purchase, we had some add to carts. So what do we do from here? Because this is the limbo place where nothing is profitable. So do we retest? Do we move on? For me, in this instance, I would definitely retest because this shows me some life. There's some add to carts. We did get a purchase, but what I would do differently after analyzing this is that my ads did not perform because the cost per unique link click across the board was not where it needs to be. It's about double where I'd want to be. I ideally want to be at around 75 cents a click, and we're at $1.54. So what that tells me is that I should retest this product with new creatives. Now, how many new creatives? I typically don't want to make a whole new batch of 16 creatives. I think that's aggressive, but I would most likely do 2 new ad groups with 3 to 4 ads in each one and give it one more chance to potentially find that right creative that makes me profitable. So hopefully you understand the different nuances of what you should do in different scenarios after the first day and after the second day of testing a product. Now, let's say after the first 2 days, you have a profitable ad group. So your ad group is getting you purchases below your break even, which is exactly what you want to see. And in most cases, when you're testing with 4 ad groups, only about 1 or 2 are really going to be working well for you. So what do we do to take advantage of that? So let's say hypothetically, the Get Ready With Me ad group is killing it. It is crushing. It is getting me great purchases and I am profitable with this one. So what I would first do to scale is increase the budget vertically. So I'd increase the budget by 25% typically at the max. Now for this product, what does that mean? Well, then we're going to bump up the budget from 20 to about $24, $25. Now I never go above 25% budget increases because I find on Facebook that typically is just too aggressive. So it is a slower way of scaling. And I know what you're thinking. Wow, Ethan, pretty boring. You just put $5 more into it. I mean, how am I supposed to be a millionaire by next week if we're doing these little baby pussy moves? And I know, and I agree with you. So the next way that you can scale, once you have a winning ad group, is to first go into it and then analyze, all right, which ad is getting me these profitable sales? So let's say, for instance, it's Get Ready With Me 2. Well, the next way to scale way more aggressively is through isolating that creative and putting it into its own scaling CBO. So what we're gonna do is click on Get Ready With Me Too, and then from here, we're gonna click on Duplicate, because it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to put your nuts on the table and start scaling aggressively like the big boys. Because if you wanna get to $1,000, $5,000 a day, then you have to take risks. You have to be aggressive in the right way. And this is the way to do it. So what you're gonna do is click on New Campaign. We're gonna do a scaling CBO, and we're gonna label the name of the ad, which is Get Ready With Me Too. We're gonna do scaling CBO, and then whatever the budget is. So for me, I'm gonna start at $200 or $100, whatever you're more comfortable with. You can do 50, you can do 100, just double usually at least the minimum budget of your ad set. So you can do 50 or 100. I usually start at 100. Now for the ad set name, we're going to do just broad. It really doesn't matter. And then we're going to click on Duplicate. So that's how you set up your first ad group. And then the next thing you have to do is just create 2 new duplicates of the ad group, just like this. So we do quickly duplicate. And then in the actual campaign section, we are going to change this to a CBO, do $100 a day. And that is all you need to do. So as this publishes, what I do with my scaling campaigns is that they have to get results in the first day. Now, let's say for instance, with this product, my break even is $40. I'm gonna let this campaign spend to $40, and then I'm gonna break down what is happening. Did I get a purchase? Am I getting some add to carts? If there is no add to carts within my break even purchase, so let's say I spent $40 and 0 add to carts, I'm gonna kill that campaign because it just didn't work. But let's say we let it spend the full $100, and out of the 3 ad groups, one of them was profitable, which is usually gonna be the case. What we would do is then turn off the other 2 that are not profitable, and then let the one that was profitable spend for the next day. And if it keeps performing, awesome. Then you can increase the budget vertically again, so you can go from $100 a day to $125. And then the next day you can bump it up by 20 to 25%. So it's the exact same method of scaling vertically with each campaign. And what you can do if you want to be really aggressive is, okay, we have our first scaling CBO and it performed well. Let's create 3 duplicates of this campaign that are identical, but we can start it at a higher budget. So instead of 100, we started at 300 or 400. And as you can see, this is all you need to do to scale to 3 to 4 or 5 grand a day. It is just isolating a winning creative and putting it into a new CBO at a higher budget. And if it performs well, you increase the budget vertically, and then you can create more duplicates and put more spend into that winning creative. Now, let's say that doesn't work by doing that. There are some other ways you can take a winning creative and put more spend into it. So going back to our original campaign, let's say that we have this Get Ready With Me ad set, and we know that Get Ready With Me Too is performing very well. Well, what we can do is just create a few duplicates of this ad group and put them in the same campaign. That is perfectly fine. And we're actually seeing this perform very well for a lot of our students that are scaling to $1,000, $2,000 a day, and performing better than the typical method of scaling as we just showed you with CBOs in a separate campaign. So as we can see, we have 1 new copy, so we can just do this, and we can start it at $25 a day. We can start at $50 a day, so just a higher budget. And then we would just turn off the other 3 ads that we know don't perform as well as the Get Ready With Me Too ad. So we just do this, super simple, and then we're gonna funnel, sorry, right there. We're gonna turn off Get Ready With Me 4, and then just let all of the money spend into Get Ready With Me 2. So that is another way of scaling by just creating new duplicates of the ad group in the same campaign. Now, those 2 methods alone have helped me scale brand new dropshipping stores from 0 to $2,000 a day and beyond. You do not need to get more complex than that. And it essentially just boils down to, you need to identify winning creatives, constantly have new winning creatives that you're identifying so that you can rinse and repeat the exact steps that I just showed you. You get a winning creative, you isolate into its own scaling CBO. You get a winning creative, you duplicate that ad group a few times in the same campaign to scale it up that way. If you repeat those 2 steps whenever you identify new winning creative, you're easily going to be able to scale to $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 a day. You don't have to do anything else, but that should put that importance on you that, oh, that means I need to keep testing new creatives, new variations of my winning ads so that I can identify more winning ads. Because if you only have 1 winning ad you're relying on, you could realistically maybe scale to $1,000 a day. But if you have 2 winning ads or 5 winning ads, then each one could be spending $1,000 a day, which lets you scale to higher and greater numbers at a higher profit margin. Now, let me know if you have any questions down below, but that is my exact Facebook ad strategy that you should be using to maximize your chance of product success. And if you want to know exactly how I make my winning video ads, then take a look at this video right here.